Yuki, known at the time as just Rudra, was born millennia ago as a prince of the kingdom of Nazca with the ambition to unite the entire world. At some point, he was taken under the tutelage of Veldanava, who trained him to be a chosen hero that could rival Guy Crimson, the first demon lord. Before his first confrontation with Guy, Veldanava approached him and proposed that they trade ultimate skills. Rudra accepted the offer and received Michael, a skill better suited for his dream of unifying the world. According to the rules of the game, he entrusted the most unknown and hopeful of his pawns, Rimuru, to be the final judge. In all honesty, he wanted to make the move himself, but Guy obeyed the rules to the end. As a result, in the distance, the breath of his friend vanished. I'm sure it's not just Rimuru who could have done it. Guy couldn't help but sigh. There was no bitterness or regret. There was only mourning for the man who was his best friend. That's why I told you. This kind of thing is only right for us as demons, who have never been emotionally shaken. Muttering this, Guy did not notice the tear running down his cheek. He just prayed silently for Rudra's soul. And just like that, the millennia-long game between Guy and Rudra came to an end. While maintaining his usual fearless smile, Guy's heart inwardly sank with grief. The game was over, but the seeds of conflict were still smoldering. And that would be the signal for the beginning of the worldwide demon war. Tenma. The game was over, but the seeds of conflict were still smoldering. And that would be the signal for the beginning of the worldwide demon war. Tenma.
You speak of the Angels invasion, yes?
Correct. If we allow that city to continue to expand at its current pace, all the guaranteed.
That would be troublesome. After all, we're aiming to secure total victory in the next great demon war.
Feldway, the first servant created by Veldanava, was very much like his creator. In contrast to Veldanava's long jet-black hair that seemed to hold the radiance of the stars of the world itself, Feldway had long silvery white hair that represented a shining light. His slitted eyes were cool, shimmering like blue stars. Rather than calling them beautiful, it would be more correct to call them divine. And in those eyes, there was a will of steel filled with determination. As befitting of his beauty, he had a tremendous presence. All the powers that Michael had gathered belonged to Feldway. In addition, the factors of Velzar and Belgrand, two true dragons, had become flesh and blood. In terms of strength, Feldway was now more substantial than ever before. Feldway grieved and hated humans on Earth. No, not just humans. Not just humans, but elves, dwarves, beastmen, and even Majin. He hated all demi-humans, that is to say, all of humanity. So he wanted to destroy them. The people who took Veldanava from us don't deserve to live. He would unite the world Veldanava had created with his own hands, and then he would condemn those who have committed the greatest crimes. That was Feldway's conclusion. He would take the world favored by the god Veldanava and dye it into his own color. He would destroy its diversity in order to create a world of his own. Lord Veldanava, if you want to punish me, then punish me. That is what I want. Now hurry, or there will be no more worlds. As the head of the 7 Primordial Angels, he was the leader of the group, and all the responsibilities fell upon his shoulders. All decisions were left to Feldway's will, without the possibility of consulting others. When Veldanava left, there was no way to escape the pressure. To everyone's dismay, Feldway remained at the forefront as a leader. It was inevitable that Feldway, who made all the decisions on his own, would be out of step with his colleagues. Feldway's fault was that he did not care about what his colleagues thought. The accumulation of such a situation led to discord, and without Feldway realizing it, he gradually lost grip of the group. As a result, the group lost their cohesiveness. Whether it was fortunate or unfortunate, Feldway was unaware of this reality. After several hundred years, there was no sign of Veldanava's return. Feldway wondered why. Then a thought occurred to him. Could it be that Veldanava has abandoned us? Otherwise, there was no explanation for the fact that the supposedly immortal true dragon had not returned. If he was right, Feldway grieved and hated. Humans on Earth. No, not just humans, but elves, dwarves, beastmen, and even mages. He hated all demi-humans, that is to say, all of humanity. So he wanted to destroy them. The people who took Veldanava from us don't deserve to live. He would unite the world Veldanava had created with his own hands. And then he would condemn those who have committed the greatest crimes. That was Feldway's. He knew that it was just a dream, an unfulfilled wish. Reviving the Star King Dragon, Veldanava, in his entirety was not possible for the Justice King Michael, who was merely a skill. But even so, he couldn't shake the hope. A world without Veldanava held no value for Michael. Michael's eyes fluttered open. He shook his head gently, trying to rid himself of the lingering emotions. He couldn't help but feel a bit confused at the feeling, as if his emotions had been laid bare for the first time. I thought I wasn't as naive as Rudra, but I was wrong. In the end, that was the lesson. Trust no one and use everyone as pawns. If he had done that from the start, Obera's betrayal could have been avoided. He hadn't because he believed in Feldway. He thought that Feldway's friends, the people he trusted, would also be trustworthy to him. But that was a mistake. When the ultimate skill Salvation King Azrael, bound to his hand, returned to him, Michael realized his error. Michael realized that his body was disintegrating. He was the first being to bear witness to the strongest ultimate skill, Void God Azathoth. And before he had time to face that inescapable reality. So then, do you have any last words? Rimuru asked him. Accepting defeat, Michael thought to himself. How could he have lost when he had outperformed them in every way? He could not find the answer. That's why he asked a different question rather than sighing in defeat. Who are you? To which Rimuru replied with a puzzled look. Hey, me, I'm just a slime. Azathoth, God of Void, is one of Rimuru Tempest's ultimate skills, and the strongest ultimate skill in Tensura. With this skill, Rimuru has complete control over space-time. It was created by Ciel, combining the ultimate skills, Beelzebub and Raphael. The ultimate skills, Feldura and Velgreen, were also merged with it. Its sub-skills are Soul Gluttony, Nihility Collapse, Imaginary Space, True Dragon Release, Space-Time Domination, Multi-Dimensional Barrier, Time Wrap, Imaginary Blade, and many